What's going on YouTube? This is 3zinferno. So, looking at windups, past and present, the old windup deck has been hit severely by the ban list. Windup Magician to 1, Tsang getting banned, Psalm Warning to 1. Alright? Now, this is going to make a big impact on new windup decks. I think the deck is still really versatile. It's a really good deck still, but I feel like the windup players who weren't serious about the deck, like they just used it because they thought it was overpowered, are going to leave. They're not going to use windups. But me, as a passionate player who thinks that windups are still a very versatile and very good deck, that I'll still try to work on it. So right now, this is a deck that I've been using since since probably the beginning. Pretty standard. I think when I started using this deck, this was literally my deck plus 2 max Cs, and taking out a lance. Alright, this is basically the deck that I started with in Guadalajara. I don't really remember the deck list, but it looked very, very similar to this. Alright, this core of the deck has been standard since the deck has come out. So, what have I done to the deck? Alright, first I'm going to show you what other people have been trying to do with this deck. Well, of course I lost in Mighty. I forgot to talk about that. Alright, so that's a big hit. Now, I've seen people try to do this with the deck, and people are asking me, oh, why don't you do this to the deck? Why don't you do that to the deck? And this is what I've seen. Okay, this deck is very based on an OTK. It has a wind-up engine, the rats, the 3 sharks, rabbits, and magician, but it has 2 summoner monks and 2 wind-up warriors, or soldiers, excuse me. Why? Because it's trying to take advantage of the fact that you can run MX Invoker. Alright, it makes for a strong OTK play. But what I don't like about this deck is that it utilizes too many cards in your extra deck. You have to use an extra Photon Papal Operative and an MX Saber Invoker. You have to run 2 cards that are very, Wind Up Soldier. I mean, it's a decent card, but it's not something that really fits into the mold. I mean, it's not bad. It isn't, but I don't like the card in terms of it doesn't really do too much. Also, Summoner Monk is really only good for that play. You discard a factory that's not useful right now, you go for a Magician into Shark. Otherwise, you really just get a Shark and then you overlay for something. See, it's really weird. The Summoner Monks serve no purpose other than the OTK. The Wind-Up Soldiers similar in that aspect, and that's that. And if you only run one, then you try to go Magician, and then, it's no good, because Invoker, you have to get it from your deck. Alright? So, I really don't like this build. It's based too much off an OTK, and I feel like the deck right now does not need to OTK. It is a very strong control deck. What you can do with it is what I've done here. Alright? This is my build for the new format. It's very similar. It looks very, very similar. What I've done to it is added a duality, because the main focus right now is if you can't OTK anymore with just Magician Shark. What you can do is go for Rabbit. Rabbit is still one of the best cards in the game, and now you still run your 2 factories, but you have your tanky, you have your duality. Instead of the duality, what you can do is run a 3rd factory, but I like the duality because it searches Rabbit specifically. Wind Up Factory can search Rabbit, but you'd have to waste a summon like a Shark to search a Rabbit, which is no good for me. With Pod Duality can get you what you need right away. If you need your Thunder King out, if you need your Heavy Storm, if you need your Solemn Judgment, etc., etc., Duality is a really good search card. Good turn 1 play. It also makes a great play if you're just trying to lock them down with Rabbits. You can search out your Thunder King or something like that. Alright, the warning is skewed. You can put in, now I've added more traps, another compulsion and bottomless to the deck. So really, I've only changed 3 cards in the deck, but I feel like this deck is really good in general. Thunder Kings are still good. I mean, people are trying to say, oh, well, that's bad against Fire Fist because they have Gene War Werewolf. I'm like, well, if that's the reason you're not running Thunder King, then I don't really think that's a good idea. Just because they have a Gene War Werewolf, you're not going to run Thunder King, but it stops their tankies, it stops them from exceeding, it stops them from doing a lot of things, and I feel like that is not a good rationale to not run Thunder King. It hurts the water deck, it hurts a lot of things. It hurts the Dragoons, etc., etc. and it even hurts rabbits. Valor is still a good main deck card. It's really good against Fire Fist. It hurts water, not as much, but it still hurts. So that's that. Valors are up to you. If you want, you can make it more trap heavy. I've thought about putting other monsters in, but right now this is my really quick fix-up of the deck. Now, without running the Photon Papilloperative and the MX Saber Invoker, I've left room for extra cards that I normally couldn't fit in. The two cards that I've put in are Diamond Dire Wolf and Black Ship of Corn. The plays with windups nowadays are, this is what you would do. Let's say you have a Magician Shark Factory first turn. So that's another reason why you could put another factory instead of duality. But right now, let's say Magician Shark Factory, alright, which helps you search. You can go into Rabbit, then overlay for Diamond Dire Wolf. Pop, Rabbit, pop there, search a rat with Factory, and then next turn you go Rat into Magician, Rabbit comes back, Banished Rat, etc., etc. There's so many more plays. It's a control style deck. It really works to your advantage to run it in a controlled basis. That's why I like the duality. You have a thin monster count in the beginning already. Thunder King's limited to 2, otherwise I would run 3. So that's why I have the duality in there, because of a low monster count. And the monsters that you would want to summon first turn are only really Tour Guide, Rabbit, or Thunder King by themselves. You wouldn't want to summon a Rat by itself. You wouldn't want to summon a Shark by itself unless you have the Factory to search, or unless you have 2 cards like a Magician Shark. Alright, so that's what I have for you right now. This is the very simple fixes to the deck that you can use and still be a viable wind-up player. Yep, that's all I have for today. Alright, thanks guys. If you have any questions, comments, let me know below. And I really like this deck still. Still going to try to play it, and I'm going to try to make more changes. But right now, this is the very standard, very limited, updated version of what I have. But this still gives you so much power in the deck, and it keeps you focused on what you want to do now. It's control, not aggro. So that, I mean, it is aggro still, but it's control, more control based. Then I don't want you guys doing this and going for, main decking cards that really serve only one purpose. Like Summoner Monk and Wind Up Soldier and MX Saber Invoker. I mean, honestly, those are not really useful, especially Invoker. I mean, you have to set special from your deck and face up defense position, so you can't even attack with this soldier if you special summon it, if you use it for that effect. I really don't like that. Alright, so that's all I have for today. Let me know what you guys think. Alright, 3zinferno signing out.